Welcome to Higher Caliber, where each week we dive into the backstory and history of the people and companies that keep America running.
Hey guys, welcome back to Higher Caliber. It's Jerrod Don here. Today we're joined by our good friend Jessamy Bright. She's the owner and lead instructor of Patronus Training, located near Cincinnati. Jessamy holds numerous firearms certifications through NRA USCCA IDPA and the Well-Armed Woman. She's also the founding chapter leader and lead instructor for the Southwest Ohio chapter of the Armed Women of America. Jessamy, did we miss anything?
I'm about 3 hours from Cincinnati, and I'm Southeast Ohio.
You can thank Don for that.
Whoa. I literally copied what you wrote down, so don't be like, thank Don for that.
Oh, gosh. Close enough for government work.
He added Cincinnati this morning, but that's
I did add Cincinnati this morning. That one I will take the blame for.
Yep.
So it's close enough.
So I know I'm missing a few things. You are a homeschool teacher as well, so you wear a lot of hats.
Yes. Just a few.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to dive into it and ask you my first question that I've been wanting to know. Why did you decide to get serious about training, and when did you decide to become an instructor?
Okay, so how did I come about being just into firearms in general?
Yeah.
So let's see. 2011, my husband out of the blue says, I think we should have a pistol for home protection. And I'm like, okay, cool. I come from a family that hunting was a thing and still is. And firearms weren't foreign to me, but I had no frame of reference for pistols.
Yeah.
So we really, at that point, neither of us knew what we were doing. So he did a bunch of research and picked what he thought was the absolute best pistol. It was not in hindsight, but
what was it?
As we know happens. What was it? It was a SIG P250,
Okay.
9mm.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a guy.
I was expecting
it's a great
worse.
pistol.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yes. He went with SIG, which was a great pistol, but that long double action only trigger pull, which I learned on, I would not ever recommend that for a newbie.
Hey, I'm just saying, at one time, I may have owned a Taurus.
Yes.
I'm just saying, or an XD. So we don't know what we don't know till we know it.
Exactly. Yeah, you were expecting way different than that reply.
Yeah.
Assault Python.
So we go to the gun shop and pick up the gun and bring it home, and you open the box and okay, cool, it's a gun, perfect.
Looks like a gun.
It looks like a gun. What the heck what do we need to do with this? So my brother-in-law, Tyson Houchins, his background is Army. He was in the 82nd Airborne Division. He did 8 years and a bunch of different trips overseas and all that fun stuff. And so he was out of the service at that point and back in Gallia County, which is the county right next to where I live in Meigs County.
Yeah.
And so his job was to actually teach pistol specifically and then other weapons platforms in the service. So of course we beat feet to get a private lesson with him.
Okay.
So he takes my hubby and I out in the boonies in West Virginia, which, I'm Southeast Ohio, right there on the
by
river.
Cincinnati.
Right by Cincinnati, yeah.
Southeast
absolutely.
Ohio, right next to Cincinnati.
Absolutely. Follow the river a little farther.
Yeah.
So we spend an afternoon on the range doing the usual safety, operation, marksmanship kind of class, just the three of us, my husband and my brother-in-law and I. And we pack up. We have a lot of fun, of course, on the range, and we're packing everything up. And on the way home, I don't think I stopped talking, which I can talk all the time. You guys have been in class with me. I can do a whole day's worth of class. It's not a problem. But I was like, I love this. I want to teach other people that this is something that's based on science and rules, and it's a skill that's super fun.
Yeah.
So that aspect of it was great. I'm like, I want to teach people about this. I want to teach ladies. And the first day, all three, I wanted a competition shoot. The very first day, stepping off of a range
You were hooked
after having
that,
a pistol
huh?
in my hand. Yes, absolutely. I had shot long guns growing up, but no pistol experience at
Yeah.
all. And so my brother-in-law, let's see. So after that, we kept going back to the range as much as we were able to. I think I watched every YouTube video, read every book, picked up every magazine I possibly could, and kept learning and growing, and went and took my NRA basic pistol class to get my CCW permit. Actually went with my sister, and that was a fun day. You know how that goes. That was back when it was a
12
12-hour
hours.
12-hour day. Yeah, which is, wow. So got my permit and just continued learning and growing there. And my work background was totally different from that. My degree is actually legal office assistant, and that had been my work previously. And then I had done some other things after having children. And so it was a little bit, I love this. How could this be a thing?
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law said one day, I would like to apprentice you as an instructor. So Patronus training started out as his business. And so we started teaching his, I forget what we called it at that point, like protective pistol curriculum. And we just did some small group classes together, and he worked with me on just polishing up, the newbie mistakes of nomenclature and different, whatever you need when you're starting out as an instructor.
Yeah.
Kind of helped me get a start there. And a lot of people were asking for us to do the specific CCW, the NRA class for that. And so I kind of had to sit down with my husband, who's very, very supportive. It wasn't like I was twisting his arm, but we had to figure out at that point, how are we going to juggle? My kids now are 19 and 13, but that's 10 years ago ish,
Right.
11 years ago. So they were still, we're still homeschooling. Well, the oldest has graduated, but we're 8th grade now with the 13-year-old. Always a fun time.
Yeah.
Hitting the teenage years. So we had to kind of figure out how that might work for me to go and take my pistol instructor certification with NRA. So I took that leap in October of 2012, and we kind of hit the ground running. We team taught the basics of pistol shooting class for probably, I think, at least 2 years, maybe 2.5.
You and your brother-in-law?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, together, which was really awesome.
Yeah.
Teaching with a team is like where it's at. You guys have that on lock, which is awesome. I'm super jealous. I have some folks that are in my area that I've been able to team teach more with, but most of the alumni that I've taught are way up north.
Yeah.
So I have to travel to you guys, which is always a fun time.
Yeah.
But after a while, Tyson, just the civilian life of, at that point he was selling phones at AT&T as his regular day job, and then doing training on the side with me and private lessons and stuff. So he got really kind of bored with that, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I bet.
After doing some kind of high-speed low drag stuff. So he went back and did civilian contracting, and started doing rotations actually in Afghanistan and a couple other places. And he would kind of come back in between, and somewhere in through there, they ended up moving to North Carolina. So we're separated by a lot of states now, 8 hours-ish drive.
Yeah.
So he pretty much turned the reins over to me. He wanted to do more law enforcement, military specific, which I do not have that background personally. I work with a lot of you guys, which I love. It's fantastic. I've learned a lot and hopefully provided some insights on some other things on the other side of that. But so he's off doing cool stuff like that still. And so out of all of that, it pushed me to take my training counselor workshop, because up to that point I had collected a couple of the NRA certifications, personal protection in the home, and I don't remember at that point, I might have had range safety officer or something. So I started doing more of the certifications, that whatever I could take and travel to get. And so the training counselor workshop, I went and did that. That's been 4 years ago, I think. I waited a while until I thought I was ready, because that's me training other instructors how to teach the NRA way. It's a way, not the way. That's always the disclaimer. So I started doing instructor training classes. I think that's been in the 4.5 years range. I'd have to look back at the dates. So anything having to do with firearms training, I have all the NRA certifications except the muzzleloading stuff.
At this point, you might as well get it.
I know, right? Well, I have a training counselor in Pennsylvania, Clint Macro, that I will probably end up going back to him. He's awesome, and he does that class periodically.
Yeah.
It's just more of a niche market that I haven't explored yet. I know how to shoot one and all that fun stuff, but and actually that's what my dad he still hunts with his Hawken 50 cal muzzleloader. He hunts deer.
So it sounds like you picked up a gun and then he just kind of nosedived into the whole into the whole thing.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. I kind of hit the ground running. I'm kind of addicted to taking training classes for myself and then to teach other people too.
Yeah.
A little bit of both.
Well, I don't know, Don, you probably say the same thing, but when I tell other women in our classes, I say I personally know only one other woman that actually carries a gun every day. When they say, I don't know if I'm going to carry this every day or not. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't be the only one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting in kind of the environment we're in and the world that we're in on, I guess the question is, have you seen an uptick in women participating in either the self-defense classes or the CCW classes over the last, you've been at it for 5 to 10 years, longer than I have. Have you seen any kind of uptick in women coming to these classes, especially with you being a female instructor? I'm guessing it's a lot less intimidating coming to a class with a woman instructor than it is coming to a class with 1, 2, or 3 guys instructing a class.
Yeah. It's been interesting for me because obviously I'm not the norm for female. Carrying a gun every day as much as I'm legally permitted to, and then helping as many people as I can to do the same, whether they're guys or girls. But for the bulk or the majority of ladies, it's helpful to have a female instructor, whether that's that you're the only female instructor or that you have one on the team. Because I love going and taking classes with guys. I have no problem with that. For me, I know that usually there's way more experience in there. And there's always something to learn from anyone, but I know that there's going to be generally more experience with the fellas when I come in, especially the law enforcement military stuff. Some actual real world experience is there. So 10 years, well, the 12th, it'll be 10 years that I've been an official credentialed instructor. But I got to run up from the time that I took my first class. I got my CCW within 2 or 3 months, and then within 6 months from that first class, I think I was already an apprentice instructor. So yes, I hit the ground running. But we started primarily teaching ladies when we did our protective pistol classes. That was the folks that were coming to us, and it's always been. I always have done co-ed CCW, just whatever the demand is.
Yeah.
And it's been, it has varied each class, but I'd say a lot of the classes were at least 50-50. Some classes it was 2/3 ladies. And I don't know if that has to do with me being a female instructor and that's bringing more ladies in. I'm not really sure.
We've had people, I know specifically when we put on a women's only class, we've had people ask us like, well, do you have a female instructor? Because that would be great. We're like, no, we know one.
She's hard to get up there.
Yeah. Being down by Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I know, and Jerrod and I have had this conversation before. Honestly, we prefer to teach the women's classes.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Not even so much. I mean, and honestly, it's because I think there's more learning going on.
Yes.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't say women's classes, inexperienced classes.
The beginner stuff.
Yeah, and I think and maybe you can elaborate more because you have been teaching it more than I have for sure. But it's just that they're ready to sit and listen. They're not ready to sit and share stories.
They'll ask questions.
Talk about they'll ask questions because they're not embarrassed like, oh, I'm going to look silly. You know, we'll have guys that they'll go through the whole class and then right before the range time they're like, hey, by the way, I was going to ask in class,
but my ego got in the way.
Is that something? Yeah, is that something you see as well?
Yes, absolutely. It's that the ladies, they're so eager to learn and get it right. They're really invested in like all of the small details.
Yeah.
So they'll ask questions. It challenges me as an instructor because they'll ask questions and I'm like, how did you get to that question?
I was going to say that. I feel a lot more challenged in those classes. Like
yes.
They bring it out of you. Like you have to think about and articulate what you're going to say instead of the guy that's, I've been shooting since I was 6 months old.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll be nice. I'll be honest. It's nice having that because it gets rid of some of that monotony in teaching the class. If everybody just sits there and stares at the screen, that's a long day.
Yeah.
Oh, heck yes.
But there's just so much more learning when that happens.
Yeah, and it's once you build that trust in the beginning of the day of you introduce yourself and I flat out say, we're here to learn. I'm here to help you on this journey. And it's not me just, PowerPointing you to death.
Right.
They're going to start getting the picture that you're there to help them on the journey instead of just recite the rules and
click through
not
your
tell
slides
them anything.
and
yeah, right. Yeah, that's no bueno. So I like doing one of you said the beginner classes. Well, I think Don said. I really like taking a newbie, whether it's a guy or a girl, and starting them from the ground up and helping empower them that you are the one that is running this machine. Here's how to do it safely, and here's how to do it well. And by the end of the class, they have so much more confidence. And of course, they're safe and can actually reasonably hit a target, which is, that's why we're there. But it ends up being a huge confidence builder.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it's really awesome.
What's your go ahead, Don.
I was just say so that kind of leads me into now that we have the new concealed carry law in Ohio.
Yeah.
How is that changing your business model? Because I know for us, the CCW classes wasn't a moneymaker.
Yeah.
I mean, that just kind of kept us afloat and gave us that's how we hung our shingle. Was we got the CCW class, so we're going to get you in the door and get you that more experienced training. How has that new concealed carry law affected your business, and how do you see it affecting your business over the next, say, 5 years?
Gotcha. So it was almost like magic. This happened in West Virginia, so I'm right there on the border between Ohio and West Virginia. I'm on the river, and when that went into effect in West Virginia, I stopped seeing West Virginia folks sign up for classes for about a year and a half. So I already had kind of a heads up that probably was going to happen in Ohio, and it was almost like magic. So whenever that was in March, that people got word that it actually passed, it wasn't going to go into effect for another 90 days, I had some classes already on the schedule. Nobody signed up because they were like, woo, we do not need training. We don't need to come and see you. We're good to go. We're just going to strap a gun on and walk out the door. It's fantastic.
America.
Which, I mean, yeah. So, and of course, that rippled out to the instructor courses because there's no guarantee that there would be business for new instructors being trained. So all of my instructor training ground to a halt at the same time. So luckily, I'm married to an attorney, and my background is, well, of course, legal office assistant, office manager stuff. So I went back. I'm still at home. We both work from home, but I went back to managing his office and doing, well, really, honestly, it's billing. A lot of paperwork. So that's what I'm doing currently. I've had more time to focus on, I run the Armed Women of America Southeast Ohio chapter here in Ohio. And then I'm a board member for the national organization. And we planned 3 regional roundups across the country, one in Utah, one in Arkansas at the end of, that was September. I got to travel for that. And then we're doing one actually this weekend. This coming weekend. Jerrod's coming out, teaching us some awesome stuff on range medical and how to take care of emergencies. So I've had more time to be able to kind of shift a little bit more focus to that. It's been a lot of work, but it's going to be an amazing time. This one is the biggest out of the 3. Mostly because we've had more lead time, honestly, but also our location there. We're at Cardinal Shooting Center in Marengo, is more central for a lot of the ladies that they're driving in instead of flying, so a lot more cost effective. So, all that being said, that was a long-winded way to say that I'm anticipating that it'll be at minimum a year before more people start to come around to, if I actually want to travel, I need to get in the class to have my permit to go across state lines. In knowing that the majority of the states that have constitutional carry or permitless carry, there's all but one, I believe, that if your state is the same, that they'll honor you carrying a pistol there.
Yeah.
That also changed the game a little bit. It's a good thing, but firearms instructors here took a little bit of a hit if that was your primary income source. It wasn't for our family because my hubby works, but it was my primary business. And I was pretty busy there for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm anticipating I'm going to try to relaunch in March 23. And just I went a couple months back and took my range master instructor certification course, and so there's a little more that kind of changed things for me.
Kind of a remotivator.
Yeah, and I love doing the basics of pistol shooting. I love teaching the basic classes, but I also want to start pushing people to go further in their skills.
Yeah.
And that I want to see people that will actually carry their firearm in a great holster, actually concealed, and they know what their draw to first shot time is. They know what their splits are on, say, a bill drill or, whatever, that they actually know what skill looks like and are willing to work towards that if they're not there. I'm certainly I have not arrived whatsoever.
Well,
I'm scheduled.
I'm sure you have a long list of prior students that would like to, take that journey with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got some pretty.
The people that already
cool
took
friends.
The people that already took their concealed carry aren't going to take another one. So.
Right. No, and I think I'm going to do a little more. I don't know if niche market, but is necessarily the right term. But I've done a competitive shooting class, and I've had some requests for that. And then, of course, I delved into the realm of red dots on pistols this last year, and that has been an amazing and frustrating and humbling journey.
Well, Don's all schooled up on red dots now, so.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Now all I have to do is go and actually buy one of my very own.
Oh my gosh, man. It's fantastic. I didn't think I would love it as much as I do. I hated it in the beginning because I had not had any official instruction on how the heck to zero the pistol. I mean, I sort of had kind of an idea. So from the beginning, historically, Jessamy likes to throw herself in the deep end. It's sink or swim. Let's try something new that you've never done before. So I wanted to learn how to mount the red dot on my pistol myself. I bought a torque wrench. I read how to do that, and I understood the concept.
Right.
In the process, I had half of a tiny little thread too long on the right side of the slide, which was impeding the extractor. So that was creating some problems. So that led me to taking the Glock Armorer's course. So I collected that certification to use to bail myself out of trouble. And so we got that fixed, and then I needed to get up to speed and make sure my skills were up to par to pass the Range Master Instructor course. And you have to do the FBI qual and the Range Master Instructor qual. And it's a pass or fail. If you don't make the minimum, then you're done. And also the third is
not
their test. Oh, it's not nerve-wracking at all, right? So, but I spent a lot of time doubting whether I was ready with the dot, because I've shot irons the majority of my career, I guess. The majority of my experience has been with iron sights on pistols. And a good friend of mine was like, you need to do a test so that you're confident that you're ready to go. So I took the dot off and I went back to irons, and I shot the drill. I ran the drills, whatever I was doing, which I did a bunch of different things. And it was all under time, all scored. I wrote it down. My notebook looks like a mess, but it's all there. So all my training journey for that and the whatever I did is in that book. And so I recorded my times, and then I took the dot off, and I went back to the range with irons, shot the same stuff. My times were almost identical.
Really?
I was like, yes, I was in one sense like horrified, because that meant that I was doubting myself that much.
Yeah.
And so I was like, son of a gun. All right, we are remounting. Okay, we're cleaning it, remounting the dot. And I'm like, stop doubting yourself. You've been a pistol instructor for years. You know what the fundamentals are. And I went and took a class with another Range Master instructor that he teaches Red Dot 101 and 102. Actually, Marcus Ziegler he's going to be at the roundup as well.
Is he?
I have some awesome friends. You guys are awesome. So I'm like, hey, come teach for me, please. Teach with me, teach for me. So I took a class, and he asked some specific questions, and he ran me through a really great 2 days of not super long, 4-hour-ish class times. And from there, I just like the last 2 or 2.5 weeks before taking the class, I was at the range every other day and I did dry practice and live fire and I timed and measured everything. And I went in, like, I did the work. So I was confident whatever happened that I had done as much as I could to do that. And it was a great class, great 3 days. And
it's a very notorious class. So I know a lot of people don't know what it is, but yeah, it's a big deal. So congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. It was very, very, very satisfying. And then I was like, okay, now what's next?
What else can I do?
But wait, there's more. Well, because whenever you level up your skills, no matter how much of an increase, if it's a little bit a step above what you'd had previously, you're just unlocking another level, and there's more levels. There's always another level. And I'm like, I used to think that I wasn't good enough for some nebulous reason. I don't know.
Right. Being human.
Right.
So I guess that kind of opens up. It sounds like in your experience, once you get one thing, you go for the next. Like, now you've got your range master. So I don't know if either one of you guys saw the little article or whatever that I think it was Citizens Defense Research posted on Facebook, where it was, your quest. I guess what's your next step in your quest? What's your next? Because I think Jerrod and I know you well enough that it's not just Jessamy is now comfortable with all of her accreditations and she's gonna sit back and take it easy. What's your thought process, or do you have something yet? Are you still actively looking for that next step in your quest?
Yeah, I'm actively looking right now with kind of the transition in work. I've kind of switched to I'm doing some challenges at our local gym. So I'm working on skills, but it's more physical skills.
Which is often overlooked when it comes to self-defense.
Yeah.
I
think the majority of time, and I'm completely guilty of that myself.
It's really interesting. Just it's the same thing in a different way, that I love finding out where my limitations are, or where I think my limitations are, and then pushing past that, because usually that's not where the limitation is. It's just your brain saying, oh, I can't do XYZ pounds or for 5 reps. No, you can. You can do more than that. Come on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been, well, like for October, obviously we're in the middle, coming down the home stretch for the roundup, planning all of that stuff and the details. But I've just kind of disappeared and gone to the gym and focused on that. And so in the back of my mind, I'm kind of going back and forth between how can I build out or build up the training company here in Southeast Ohio. Yeah. Because it can be a thing here. I have a private range that a friend has let me graciously built for me, and not just for me, my chapter, and lets me come train whenever I want. And we have another members only range in the area, a couple actually, but one that I'm a member of that has a little bit farther distance to work with. But I want to kind of build. I want to build a team. Yeah. That's like the thing for me. I'm totally jealous of what you guys have for Fire Ridge. Totally jealous. So
yeah, there's
if I were closer, then I would be there more often.
There's 5 of us, and 2 or 3 people work at a time, and then we stop working. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a system.
Yeah.
It's a system.
Going back, because I don't want to skip over, there's one more thing I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure you get this all the time, but it's going to help me because women ask me all the time in classes is what advice would you give women that want to protect themselves but are too nervous and hesitant to introduce a gun? Because that's the thing I hear all the time is, well, I want to carry a gun, but I don't want to introduce this gun around my family who otherwise wouldn't have had it around them to begin with. Do you have any?
Gotcha.
I know it's kind of a hard question.
Yeah,
but-
because it's kind of situation specific.
Mhm.
Is it because they have young kids? Is it because they have family members that are not pro-gun?
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into that equation. They're going to have to, they need to get education.
Yeah.
And everyone can benefit from education on how to make sure that you're safely interacting with firearms, whether you own one or not.
Right.
And it's going to be specific to
Yeah,
them.
it's a hard one. It's a hard one to answer. I know a lot of them are like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to. I guess I could keep it in my purse, and I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh.
No. And then
No go.
you have to, tell them there's different options for holsters, and they're like, but I don't want to carry it on me. So it's hard.
Right.
You kind of just want to be able to help them, but like you said, there's too many different factors because guys wear, big belts, different clothing, and I don't know, it's tough.
I guess kind of my question on that, to maybe back it up just a smidge, how do you start that conversation on just firearms in general? Because I think that's kind of the big point is, if they are in a family that doesn't do firearms. I'm the only one in my family. My dad never shot, never hunted. My in-laws didn't do much. So, I'm on both sides of the family with firearms. So, there is some delicateness, how do you start that conversation? Because again, you come from a very different background than Jerrod and I do, and you come from a very different viewpoint than Jerrod and I do as well.
Yeah.
I'm 6'2", 250 pounds. Very rarely does somebody make me feel uncomfortable at a store if it's not somebody that I've dealt with professionally. It's so how do you introduce that discussion with anyone? And also with that discussion, where do you take it from if it's just somebody that's adamant, I don't do firearms? How do you transition that to other forms of personal protection?
Gotcha. It's kind of difficult to read sometimes, but you can typically get a feel for what the comfort level is with anything. And if someone's coming to me and talking and asking questions about personal protection, whether it's firearms or not, there's a reason. And that means they've been traumatized or they've had someone make them uncomfortable and they're just now kind of awakening to the wider world of there's probably danger close, right?
Yeah.
So I usually ask in the context of what does your life look like? Where do you travel? What do you have kids? What's the most likely thing that could happen, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've lost count of how many cans of pepper spray I've given to random women, not random, but yeah. Just right. That I'm like, okay, so you were uncomfortable in the Walmart parking lot at 2 a.m., which this is not an actual story, but that's Walmart is where a lot of it happens, right?
Oh yeah, trust me, I know.
So what would you have done different?
Yeah.
Or so and then I very quickly say, I'm going to give you pepper spray if you're willing to carry it. Here's how and how to deploy it, and here's what you need to do after you use it if you have to. I love the palm pepper spray. They should give me a cut of proceeds for all the sales. Right. So that's been my pepper spray of choice to pass out and to friends and family and to use.
And it's POM, right?
Yes.
POM.
POM stands for peace of mind.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Palm pepper spray. They have all kinds of. Yeah. they have all kinds of nice colors for, it's a thing for ladies for like color coordination.
Right.
You can pick different things, but from there, there's lots of options. But for me, who likes all of the options, I like knives, I like pepper spray, I like, I have done different forms of martial arts over the years, and of course, carry a firearm. I kind of try to explain it simply, but there's the force continuum of what level of force are you able to use for specific circumstances. And I'm like, if you're not comfortable with a firearm and you don't want to be comfortable with a firearm, that's not required.
Right.
In that case, that shouldn't be your thing. If you're not willing to put the time in to train and learn how to use it properly, then you're actually going to be a detriment. I don't generally say that, but that's the facts.
Yeah,
but if they are actually interested at all, then I'm like, you don't have to train with me, but get with an instructor that's going to walk you through to get you there to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And that's the most important. And then it's always a journey, and certain people start out the journey way slower and pick up speed as they go of the learning.
Yeah.
And then there's me, who jumps in with both feet and is like swimming like mad.
Yeah.
Towards, there is no finish line. It's just like we're keeping going. But I try to get a feel for where that person is at and why they're there, as far as why are they coming to me for the self-defense talk?
Yeah.
What do they need in their life? Which that's kind of tiring, because you're having to do the work of what is your life like, and do an interview like you guys are doing on the podcast.
Right.
But with individuals. From there, if they are interested, they do a class. Then the biggest hurdle with ladies, like you mentioned, is always how can we carry it and where?
Right. On
body. If they're adamant for purse carry, we're going to do some dry practice. And you're going to know that it's super slow and you have to be attached to the purse.
Yeah.
You can't let that out of your sight.
Usually will end up it usually ends up in the shopping cart or
yeah. Yeah, not cool. So it's always, I've been working with the ladies in my chapter, and there's quite a few that they're not comfortable yet. They're great. They come to the meetings. They have great questions. We go to the range and shoot, and we do different, a variety of drills and different things to keep it moving. But the majority, I don't remember what percentage or anything, but right now our chapter is kind of small because we've been devoting a lot of time to national events and not local
right.
promotion.
Right.
But the majority are still not comfortable carrying. Yeah. And we're getting them up to speed. Actually, several are coming to my chapter, or from my chapter to the roundup, and they're all, we've done drawing from a holster, and some of them that's a range kind of outside the waistband type of a holster, not for concealed carry. So we're getting some of them up to speed with their inside the waistband holster, whether that's strong side or appendix carry. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, but it's, for me, I have to constantly go, okay, some people take a long time to get around to, can we carry with a round in the chamber? Okay, so what does it mean? What makes the gun go bang? Mm-hmm. What's the draw? What's the shot, the time to your first shot if you have to rack the slide to chamber your first round, and versus carrying with the round in the chamber? That conversation has to happen. Yeah. And that's fine, but I didn't spend a lot of time personally on that. I was like, okay, this is how it works. That's not how it works, and we're good.
Yeah, you're not going to change their mind overnight.
No, but I really love the side of showing them proof of what is it actually faster or slower, and in other stuff.
Yeah.
I'm all about metrics and measures and the science part of things, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like you said, you're showing them. We can sit here and we can tell somebody all day long that it's actually faster to draw from an appendix carry than a 3 o'clock hip.
Yeah.
And they can sit there and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're telling me that a concealed carry position is actually faster than one that's already out? Yes. Let us show you. But I think our hurdle in the firearms training industry is arrogance and ego and not willing to change. But you said, even if they don't want to come train with me, go train with somebody.
Yes.
But I think we might need to add a little asterisk to that. Train with somebody who's competent.
Yes.
And continues that training. You have a ton of certifications.
Yep.
But I think for you, more importantly, isn't those certifications, it's the extra classes you go to as a student.
Oh, absolutely.
I think, having those certifications is great, but,
just a piece of paper.
And just the several classes that I've been to. I mean, the first any of us met you was the keepers class like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And what got me was the enthusiasm, not just your knowledge, but the enthusiasm you had during the class.
Awesome.
I mean, that's what gets me. So I think a lot of it is that willingness to take that extra time and demonstrate, not just tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's been tough to schedule classes for myself, but I'm like, I have to do that because if I'm not, right now, the week not this weekend, but the next weekend, I'm headed to Georgia for the Range Master Instructor alumni, their conference that they do for alumni instructors. And I can already tell that I've slacked off on the dry practice because I've been doing a lot of computer work lately.
Guilty.
Lot. And right, same.
Wait, you guys dry practice?
Oh, come on, man.
I just got my shoulder working, so that's my.
Oh well,
that's my excuse.
You literally get a pass. You have like a doctor's excuse.
Yeah.
Nah.
Wait, you should be working. Wait, is that your left hand? You should be working
my
with
left
the other
one.
hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, get back to work. So, but I can tell. So for that weekend, I won't get to shoot this coming weekend. I'll be teaching. We have like 4 90-minute sessions, which is not time for me to do anything more than explain and demonstrate safe drawing from a holster and reholstering from appendix carry or strong side hip. It was just fine in Arkansas. We had some really great sessions, and but this coming the Range Master conference is going to be classroom blocks and range blocks, and I'm like, Jessamy needs to get her butt back to the range and make sure that we're knocking off the rust that has now crept back in. It's only been, gosh, I mean, that was August, first part of September, maybe.
It's not bad.
A month or so. But if I'm not continuing to keep up my skills, then I'm dead.
Right.
I'm dying continually, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a a lot of people don't know what they don't know. It's a perishable skill.
Yes.
And I think unlike riding a bike, it's a quickly it goes by fast.
Yeah.
You go a couple of years without riding a bike, you can hop on and figure it out. You go 60, 90 days without firing a handgun, and all of a sudden it's like, you have no idea what you're doing anymore.
Hey, hey, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
All right. All right. I'm going to ask you what I ask everybody. So I don't know if you know what question this is.
I don't. Yeah.
Boy,
buckle up.
If you could give yourself advice from when you were 18 years old, if you could go back in time, what would it be?
Oh, wow. 18 years old. Let's see.
That's how I can tell my podcast guests don't listen to my podcast. They never know what I'm going to say.
So 18, dang. So I would have just graduated. I was homeschooled as well, all through high school. Oh, well, all the way up through high school. And it would be to take your time on the learning journey. I went pretty quickly after graduation. We had a little graduation party for me, and which was awesome. Um, and went just hit the ground running and did my associate's degree for legal office assistant.
Jumped right
almost
into it.
immediately. I
Yeah.
jumped right into it, and then I had a job lined up and literally started work at a law office in Jackson, Ohio, which is just a couple counties over, where my aunt lived in Jackson. So I went up just to live with her, and but I started that literally the day after our official graduation, which in hindsight, why?
Could have taken a
Take
summer
your
off.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, take your time, enjoy yourself. And you have to kind of balance the high performing, I want to do this job, I want to do it the best ever, and rest is required.
Have a little
and
patience.
relaxation. A little patience, yeah, because I've really tended to go, and then, of course we're going to burn out if we're not
Right.
taking the time to get out in outside, get out in nature, and just unplug from stuff. So,
well, that's great advice. Where can people find you?
On the internet, not
where
right now.
On the internet. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yes, I would not give you directions to my house on the podcast.
It's near Cincinnati somewhere.
Right.
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Yes. Follow Don's directions. I was literally at the gym this afternoon, and we were talking about people when you go to a different city, people giving you advice on where you should stay or not. And I was like, yeah, I got this really cool guy who's an officer, and he was like, where are you staying for this class? And obviously I don't tell guys where I'm staying generally.
Right.
And I was like, but I'm making an exception. And you steered me the correct way. You're like, yeah, don't stay there. That's not it. How about you stay over here where we're not getting phone calls every half an hour?
Yeah, that's the meth motel.
Yeah, let's not do that. So, finding me on the internet, I'm literally on all the different platforms. My handle on Instagram or Facebook is Jessamy Bright, and that's me personally. But you're going to see a lot of lifting videos, a lot of cats and dogs and kids, cooking on the Blackstone, whatever. You don't see a lot of legal work because it's boring as crap. Love you, honey, but it's boring. But it's a lot of computer work. So it pays the bills, and I'm helping with his business, which is our business. So it's good. For Patronus, on Facebook and Instagram, it's the same, patronustraining.usa. And then patronustraining.com is our website. And right now, I have no classes at the moment, but we're going to hopefully relaunch. I may relaunch in January and do non-live fire stuff because I have an outdoor range in Southeast Ohio. January, Ohio is cold.
Yeah. You have all your chapters listed on there as well.
So on armedwomen.org, there's a list of all the chapters across the country. I forget how many we have now in Ohio, but I'd say a dozen, 12 to 15, I think.
Yeah.
But they're on there. When you pull up that website, of course, on mine, you'll see me anyway, but on that website, you'll see me across the front page splashed across the website with a gun in my hand. It's always entertaining when you have a professional photographer for a sister that you get some really awesome girl with a gun pictures.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, you can find me in a lot of different places. All of those have my emails, jessamybright@gmail.com. If you have questions about the business, you can have me come out and do a class. depending on the schedule, which has been entertaining here lately. Seems like the schedule filled up with other things than training. But yep, I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome. Well, thank you for talking with us today.
Yeah, thanks.
I will see you Saturday.
Thanks for having me. Yes, I'm super excited about that.
I will not.
Dude, Don, come on.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Come on over, dude.
Some of us have too many kids.
Oh, well, yeah. There's that.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.